Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Let's take a moment to talk about the importance of having a high-priced XRP. Now, of course, that's important to you and I as XRP holders because we want Lambo time, right? So it's clear why it's important to us that we have a high-priced XRP. But look, there's been this idea floating around the community for a number of years that XRP has to be higher, and then insert reason ABC 1, 2, 3, XYZ, whatever it may be. And frequently, what people will cite, though, is a comment from David Schwartz, one or two different comments, actually, potentially, where he says, you know, it was something along the lines of XRP would kind of have to be high, but what he was actually talking about, if you read the full context, is that, you know, if it's basically if XRP is a certain price, that allows you to do certain things with it, in particular as it pertains to XRP being used for purchasing or even as a bridge currency, whatever it may be. And that's all certainly true, but it's frequently misconstrued as David Schwartz saying XRP has to be high, therefore it will be high. That is not what he was communicating. Now, I personally believe that XRP is going to be worth an absolute fortune compared to where it is now, and we'll see what happens. And I wouldn't be surprised, even though, you know, David Schwartz, he stays away from, you know, price discussions these days, and I understand why. It gets a lot of attention, you know, and it's probably not the type of attention you want at this point. I understand that, and that's perfectly fine. But I suspect that he, just like us, anticipates that it's going to be worth a lot more in the future because he's obviously long Ripple, and XRP's at the core of Ripple's business model. And there are a lot of other reasons, obviously. XRP has multiple use cases, which is rare in the world of crypto. There's tons of reasons. So I want to highlight that, and then there's also a separate story on the legal side of things. Here's a headline from Empower Oversight. Empower Oversight presses for additional crypto communications from Clayton SEC tenure. And so, folks, there's some slimy stuff, as you well know. At least the strong appearances of impropriety, if I'm being kind, appearances of impropriety here. Well, now, Empower Oversight wants to dig further into stuff having to do with former SEC Chair Jay Clayton, because some of his associates, people that he was communicating with including having to do with the firm One River, which he went to after leaving the SEC, you know, jumping into the world of crypto, maybe we need a little bit more transparency there, and you'll see why. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. Ripple CTO, XRP at higher prices is a better vehicle for payments. Ripple CTO David Schwartz believed XRP would be a more efficient payment vehicle by hitting higher prices and commanding better liquidity. And so, folks, I will pause to note that when it comes to, you know, XRP being functionally useful as a bridge currency, what matters is both price and liquidity matters more than price, because it doesn't matter how high the price is if people aren't buying and selling. If it's not available to buy and sell, you can't plug it in, and then the price doesn't matter. If you don't have XRP to plug in, set the price aside. If you don't have XRP available to plug in, who cares what the last selling price was? Who cares what the market rate is if it's not sufficiently available? So liquidity is actually more important than having a high price, but it certainly is true that having a high price makes it easier to conduct much higher, much larger transactions, including buying a home. So anyway, piece continues. Prominent XRP influencer Crypto Eddie recently spotlighted a statement from Ripple's chief technology officer David Schwartz about XRP's price when used for facilitating large cross-border payments. Crypto Eddie quoted Schwartz's reply to a question on Quora about institutions supposedly seeking XRP's price to remain low for payment transactions. She highlighted the view that higher prices tend to correlate with higher liquidity, which means cheaper payments. And here I'll just go straight to the screen grab and shout out and credit to Crypto Eddie for sharing this. I've shared this on my channel before, but it's been a long time, potentially years ago. But take a look at this. So this is from David Schwartz. And so the question was the following. If banks were to adopt Ripple, and so they mean XRP, broadly anyway, which means they have to purchase XRP, would they not want to keep the market price of XRP low? If XRP is finite, i.e. cannot be mined, then wouldn't that hinder mainstream adoption? which, by the way, is a perfectly fair question. But here is the answer from David Schwartz. Because again, do you want a lower price XRP if you're a bank or a financial institution, so on and so forth? David Schwartz says the following: no. The price of XRP you need to make a $1 million payment will always be at least $1 million. The truth is precisely the opposite. Higher prices tend to correlate with higher liquidity, which means cheaper payments. Imagine if you wanted to use Bitcoin as an intermediary currency to buy a house worth $1 million back when Bitcoin was priced at $100. In the process of trying to buy enough Bitcoin to buy the house, you'd push the price up significantly. And when the recipient tried to convert those Bitcoins into their local currency, they'd push the price down significantly. The effect would be so bad that back then, it would not have been practical to use Bitcoins to buy a house. Now, with Bitcoin over $10,000, that's a cinch. You can buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin without moving the market significantly because the price is higher, and so you need a smaller fraction of the available Bitcoins to do so. So a higher priced asset is a better vehicle for payments, at least if you're targeting high value payments. Okay, so that is some sage wisdom and sound thought. It's a obviously perfect thought process on the topic. And so if you think about it, what he said at the outset here, higher prices tend to correlate with higher liquidity, which means cheaper payments. Thinking through that, obviously, I mean, it's obvious when you think through it why that is indeed the case. As price increases, thanks to speculation of a particular asset, in this case XRP, there's going to be more. It's going to draw in more participants, right? And then so as the more participants jump in, there's more people buying and selling XRP. That's the liquidity. So there's more liquidity for it, and liquidity begets liquidity, as Chris Larson has said in the past, and that's absolutely true. So it's just it's a matter of getting a system going, but it's going now. It's definitely going now. So it's easy to understand why that's the case. And then you're talking about ultimately, as more money flows into XRP and Bitcoin, these assets actually become less volatile over time, and then it'll be easier for firms to adopt them. Now at that point, it'll be less interesting on the investment side, which is coming at some point, and it may be way in the future. At some point, investing in XRP will be as boring as purchasing gold or silver. I firmly believe that's going to be the case. But the good news is we're nowhere near that right now. So by the time that happens, hopefully we'll have all had our Lambo time by then, right? Because when it comes to investing, the purpose is volatility. That's the purpose of investing. And there's so little money in XRP right now that if our suspicions are correct, and I say that broadly, we as XRP holders, because I think if you hold XRP, I'm guessing that you assume it's going to be worth more in the future in all likelihood, though it's not guaranteed. With that being the assumption here, and there's so little money in XRP, when it goes, and there's this little money, my God. That's why I keep saying face melt time, my friends. And then there's this. Empower Oversight presses for additional crypto communications from Clayton SEC tenure. So this is short. I'm going to share with you what was actually written. So this is the latest update from Empower Oversight. Then I'm going to share with you a couple comments from Attorney John Deaton and Attorney Bill Morgan. Empower Oversight has submitted a new Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA for short, FOIA, request seeking communications between Jay Clayton, the former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, and numerous people he may have interacted with regarding the agency's improper handling of cryptocurrency enforcement decisions. The recent stems from Clayton's statements regarding Bitcoin and other senior official statements on Ether suggesting that they were not securities subject to the SEC enforcement jurisdiction, only to have the SEC file suit as Clayton was leaving the agency against Ripple related to another cryptocurrency, XRP, alleging that it was a security. In addition, following his tenure at the SEC, Clayton joined cryptocurrency hedge fund One River Asset Management, a firm that focuses exclusively on Bitcoin and Ether, cryptocurrencies that benefited from the SEC's selective enforcement action. So folks, think about this. Jay Clayton, on his last day as SEC chair, attacks XRP, which XRP on the heels of Ethereum at the time in terms of price action, right? And then after he leaves the SEC, he ends up at the firm One River, exclusively focusing on Bitcoin and ETH? Duh! It's one of those things where it's like, Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Something here does not pass the smell test. Can you figure out what it is? The SEC most recently released documents related to the possible conflicts of interest in the agency's cryptocurrency enforcement decisions. The release came after 2 years of FOIA requests and litigation filed by Empower Oversight. All right, so here is a post from John Deaton's Crypto Law organization highlighting part of the importance of this. And Crypto Law wrote the following. Following their successful playbook on Hinman, Empower Oversight has submitted a list of names for Clayton's emails. They were apparently all associated with One River Digital Asset Management at the critical time of Clayton's official actions. And they're the names on the screen right there. So so One River people, at the same time he's doing this stuff, going against Ripple, going against XRP, interacting with these people from One River, then he leaves the SEC and joins them. He joins them at One River. Are you kidding me? It's probably just a big coincidence, right? There's nothing to see here, folks. We're probably just crazy conspiracy theorists here in the XRP community. There's nothing to see here, right? Give me a freaking break. Here's what Attorney Deaton had to say. When I first raised the huge conflicts of interest and gross appearances of impropriety related to the Clayton/Hinman tenure at the SEC, I was called a conspiracy theorist by many in the industry. Then, my 75,000 friends, along with our incredible sleuths, joined in uncovering much more. We raised such a legitimate issue that a non-crypto related entity, Empower Oversight, sued the SEC over its non-compliance with FOIA. Empower Oversight obtained emails proving Hinman and Clayton's full knowledge and tacit approval violated multiple times 18 U.S.C. 208. Is Empower Oversight conspiracy theorists as well? I ask because they're doing more. Many in the industry want the truth to be forgotten or buried and the return of a bull market. My response, the truth doesn't care about your bags. It's coming. Spot on, Attorney Deaton. And so when we're talking about the FOIA requests here, we're talking about there are specific interactions between Jay Clayton and those other named individuals. I didn't read them, but they were on your screen. And it's for a specific time period. And through Freedom of Information Act, through that request, we should get access to those. Even if it takes, we should get access to that. And so, what are we going to be able to pick out of that? Now, that's going to be interesting. I would not be surprised if there's some seriously interesting stuff in there, which would make Jay Clayton not look so great. That would be my guess. Here you have a post from Attorney Bill Morgan. Empower Oversight with the perfect summary of the Clayton conflict. He disgraced the SEC and his position as chairman. He benefited from his conflictual conduct. And then that post was reposted by Attorney Deaton, and he wrote, let's not forget, Clayton was the only commissioner to see and read the draft speech before it was given. Hinman did not send a copy to Hester Peirce. And so, I'll just pause and note, Hester Peirce, of course, was then and currently is one of the 5 commissioners at the SEC who votes on whether or not to bring legal action against entities, individuals, so on and so forth. And then Attorney Deaton wraps up this post by stating, that's right, Crypto Mom, referencing Hester Peirce, of course, Crypto Mom didn't get a heads up regarding the biggest speech in crypto history. How about that? Well, that sounds a little weird, don't you think? I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.